Good morning, and thank you for joining me on what is now my fifth convocation as the Dean of the College of Communication and Fine Arts. Who knew? I want to thank the dance students again for their engaging performance. The dance program has been receiving growing notoriety in the last several years, primarily in part to its reinvigoration to offering our students a critical dance training with professionalizing purposes, a curriculum that synthesizes technique, choreography, performance, and theory, leading to careers in performance, teaching, and social impact with diverse populations, from youth at our local YMCA to work with varying U.S. veterans populations. Dance as beautiful aesthetic, yes, but also dance as a technology of knowing, showing, and a tool for invigorating the mind, the body, and social action. This commitment in the dance department has been further grounded in established relationships with a variety of dance companies with national and international reputations, including an educational partnership with the Bill T. Jones Arnie Zane Dance Company, the only such educational partnership of its kind on the West Coast, as well as the fact that our students come into contact with a range of top dancers and choreographers in the region and nation, greatly in part due to a series of gifts from a generous donor initiating a visiting artist series that has brought such artists like Debbie Allen to engage in talks on technique, choreography, and career pathways, helping all of our students to discover their personal truth through dance, which is very mission-centered, which is mission-empowered, and a mission-promoting activity. More on dance shortly. As always, I want to structure my brief time with you today around three major points. First, reviewing the major accomplishments within the college, then a brief meditation on a theme, and then ending with some strategies of engagement and resistance. This year, we are extremely happy to have 5 new tenure-track faculty within the College of Communication and Fine Arts and the university. Sean Anderson and Allison Solar from the Department of Communication Studies, Anthony Bodlovic and Lavinia Jackson in the Department of Marital and Family Therapy, and Amanda Herring rejoins us this year as a tenure-track faculty member in the Department of Art and Art History, specifically in art history. We also have 5 new staff members that join us this year. Pamela Wimberly Willis, Administrative Specialist in the Dean's Office, Kate Shirley, Communications Manager, Tom Barrett, our new Associate Director of Academic Budgets and Planning, Laurel Schmolzy, just because I like to say Schmolzy, our Instructional Technologist with a joint appointment in SFTV, and Alexander Egger, our Technology Support Specialist. Another very nice name. Each year, I am completely blown away by the range of events and activities that we offer. Nearly 100 formal and informal events that span the gamut from faculty lectures and student presentations, theater performances, dance concerts, music concerts, senior recitals, exhibitions, symposia, workshops that showcase the talent and intellect of our students and faculty. If you don't already have a copy of our season's calendar, it is posted on our college webpage. Our Vonderay Chair in Communication and Ethics, Larry Winter, continues to bring some of the top scholars from around the nation to participate in his forum on media ethics and social responsibility, along with his continuing prolific scholarly reputation that is both national and international. Our Presidential Professor of Theater, Beth Henley, is a working playwright. Her works continue to be produced around the world, and she will soon be honored with the William Inge Distinguished Achievement in American Theater, the American Theater Award later this year. Our presidential professor of communication studies, Phil Wander, continues to be a stalwart figure in the discipline of communication studies. On a personal note, I'll share with you that Phil has recently suffered some health challenges. So on behalf of the Department of Communication Studies and his wife, our forever colleague, Winshu Lee, we ask that you keep Phil and Winshu in your hearts and in your prayers. In terms of scholarship, our faculty at large continue to be productive. The latest copy of the CFA Faculty Publications and Creative Works book is currently available on the college webpage. 44 pages of accomplishments across the full range of faculty and students. Key faculty in theater, art history, and marital and family therapy have new book-length projects that are hot off the presses and available for your engagement. And our faculty continue to present in a college-based series entitled CFA Talks about teaching and scholarship, organized and facilitated by Judith Scalin and Professor Paul Humphreys. In addition to our fine performances, presentations, and events that we produce with our students, we also bring in professional performance artists to engage both the college and community, as well as invite guests, directors, choreographers, and scholars. This fall, we brought in poet Mary Weems with her one-woman show, Black Notes, based on her collection of plays and monologues entitled Black-Eyed. And just a week ago, we brought in actor and executive director of the Town Street Theater, Nancy Cheryl Davis, with her one-woman show, Passing Solo, each show focusing on varying aspects of the African-American experience. And now some brief highlights of our departments, beginning with the Department of Art and Art History. The combined department continues to host Kaleido LA, a lecture series designed to bring in working artists, scholars, and recent alums to engage students in art and art history. This is a public event, so all interested parties are welcome to attend. They're usually held on Fridays at noon right here in Murphy Recital Hall. Students in studio arts continue to design and brand the undergraduate research symposium, as a vast array of our CFA students also participate in both the Art Showcase, which is held here in the Burns Fine Arts Complex, and the scholarly presentations during the formal symposium in University Hall. The department takes great pride in the successes of all of their graduates. We foreground here the success of Catherine Danman, a 2011 alum who is experiencing great success as a doctoral candidate in art history at Columbia University. I am sure that the success that this young woman experienced will also be waiting for the 5 young women who, working with Professor Melody Rodari, curated the current Reimagining Each Other exhibit, which is now running in Hannon Library, 3rd floor and special collections. Our relationship with Hannon Library is extremely important to us. Dean Christine Brancalini and Cynthia Becht have been extremely generous in helping to provide and expand the educational experiences for our students. Our Department of Communication Studies is a dynamic unit with a set of faculty that represents a diversity of ideas and interests. One of the 2 departments in CFA to recently move to a 4-unit model this year, including art history. The department also has a new curriculum that continues to deepen its commitment to critical ways of producing and evaluating communication messages, the role of communication in shaping performance of identity and community, processes and technologies by which people relate to and collaborate, and the importance of principled advocacy across personal, professional, and public lives. To that end, the department offers a series of lectures and symposia around differing issues, including the relationship between freedom of speech, censorship, and digital culture. Through faculty research, lectures, and invited guests, the department is exploring issues of communication, social justice, and prison pedagogies in the age of Ferguson, in the age of Trump, as well as the important work on femicide in the murdered and disappeared women in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, being conducted by Professor Nina Reich. The debate team, under the direction of Thomas Dow, continues to excel in state, district, national, and international competition, along with the efforts of Professor Jason Jarvis, who works with the Urban Debate League to bring the power of debate as a critical intellectual and democratic skill to underrepresented population. The successes of the LMU debate team are included in the online version of our faculty publication and creative works book. The Department of Communication Studies also takes great pride in the success of their graduates, including Anna Segura, class of 2016, who is currently the Director of Communications and founding member of Women Speak, a nonprofit organization that helps young women to begin the opportunity to spark change in themselves and in their community. As previously noted, the dance department continues in providing students with a range of performances, experiences, training, and professional opportunities. Damon Rago, who offered a generous introduction today, made a reference to one of their dance experiences that students engage. They have annual concerts and showcases that are offered both fall and spring. Students with particular interests in teaching have opportunities to engage in certificate programs, both within and outside the university. And through a donor-funded visiting artist program, the department brings in some of the top choreographers in the nation. In fact, this week, students are engaged in a week-long series of workshops with a diverse array of choreographers from around the nation, and it will culminate in a workshop-type performance in this particular space on Friday evening. All are invited. This is usually a standing room only kind of event, so come early. It'll be right here in Murphy Recital Hall. Our unit in Interdisciplinary and Applied Studies, IDAP, which is spearheaded by Professor Dean Scheibel, continues to offer students opportunities for applied studies, and Dean has been working in collaborative engagement with Michelle Hammers, the Chair of Communication Studies, to formalize a minor in public relations. The Laban Art Gallery continues to provide a range of programming for the college, for the campus, for the community, just recently completing a very successful collaborative run of the curated exhibition Woody Woodpecker and the Avant-Garde in conjunction with SFTV. The gallery is now showing the exhibition Cycle Pump, curated by Anthony Bodlovic and graduate students in the Department of Marital and Family Therapy using art. The exhibition, the Laban, is going to be open during our reception, so I hope that you will take an opportunity to engage it. As a department, Marital and Family Therapy continues to distinguish itself as one of the top MFT and clinical art therapy programs in the nation. Our faculty and students continue to receive national recognition, and our graduate students continue to garner highly coveted stipends from the state of California and the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, designed to recruit linguistically and culturally competent therapists who are committed to working with the diverse populations served in public mental health. The music department continues to offer a range of performance opportunities for students, including the ever-popular Sinatra Opera Workshop and children's concerts, the perennial favorite of the LMU choruses under the direction of Dr. Mary Brayton, and the emergence of the LMU Chamber Orchestra under the direction of Professor Tanya Fleischer has made a major impact in the diverse range of offerings within the department. Our two resident artists and clinical faculty, Wojciech Kosian and Martha Masters, continue to amaze us with their virtuosity and their vigor as working artists and teachers. This year, Martha Masters will take over as the director for the annual Guitar Festival, which attracts hundreds of classical guitar enthusiasts to the campus. The music department also takes great pride in the diverse musical and performance pathways that its students follow, like Anna Villafani, class of 2012, who plays Gloria Estefan in a traveling musical that has made its way now to Broadway. The theater department offers a diverse range of productions that challenge students across issues of genre and period, social and political issues, race and body image, classic and contemporary pieces, always helping our students to encounter classic and challenging material and coming into contact with a range of professional actors who engage them both in performance and in discussions about career pathways. Today, we actually have a host of students who are participating at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival in Mesa, Arizona, so we wish them good luck in their endeavors. Theater is also another touch point for me in our collaborative relationship with the Hannon Library. This is one example of Professor Leon Wiebers. Let me see if he's there. Yeah, always staring. Leon Wiebers. But each year I am also tickled and intrigued with the haunting of Hannon, the Halloween event, in which classic and new fairy tales and tales of horror are performed in the stacks by theater students with guided haunted tours throughout the entire library. CFA now enters its fourth year in a relationship with the Rotary District 5280, hosting the Pageant of the Arts, an event with highly talented high school students who compete in art, in dance, in music, and public speaking. Along with Rotary, we also host an annual ethics conference on campus, and we will be hosting their forum on human trafficking next month. CFA continues its commitment to career and professional development. On a broader scale, this year we offered an expanded version of our Conversations With series into an event called Career Connections, co-sponsored with the Office of Career and Professional Development, Brandon Grimmett's team, in which we hosted a series of young alums who engaged our current students. It was a standing room only type of event in Roski Cafeteria, and the event was extremely successful. All of this leads us to the ultimate questions of what do our CFA graduates do and where do they go after graduation? Our students are getting jobs. Our students are getting jobs. Our students are really getting jobs, and they work in both the private and the public sectors, with an increasing number of those students entering graduate programs. These students are working for a range of companies and organizations all around Los Angeles and all around the nation. Over the last 5 years, CFA has deepened its commitment to governance by establishing a series of college-based committees. And just recently, we added a CFA Student Council, a diverse group of students who bring their experiences and their critical perspectives to bear upon the state and decision-making processes of the college, serving as direct advisors to the dean. In terms of development, working with my friend and my colleague, Tara Freites, the CFA Development Officer, I'm proud that CFA has been highly successful through my 5-year period as dean, contributing $5.6 million to the overall university scholarship initiative, raising $7.3 million in the last 5 years and $1 million up to date in this current fiscal year. In that process, we have exponentially increased the number of scholarships and fellowships to support students than ever before in the history of the college. With Tara Freites, and I need to tell you that she requires me to say her name at least twice in any presentation, and I'm going to say it a third time. With Tara Freites, we take great pride in the ability to provide an increased number of scholarships to some of our most deserving students, when and as possible. The title of my talk today invokes the idea of learning to breathe again in relation to notions of information, formation, and transformation as acts of CFA. In many ways, this title is a constructed thing that allows me to speak to aspects of the university mission that I believe is most embodied in CFA. In some ways, this is yet another defense of who we are and what we do in the College of Communication and Fine Arts. I use and maybe even abuse at times the explication of the education of the whole person that is understood as the simultaneous process of information, formation, and transformation that thus encourages personal integration of the student's thinking, the student's feeling, the student's choosing, evolving self, which for me speaks so clearly to the expressive and critical arts in CFA and how we get students involved and how students are invited to think into, to feel into, to embody and express their deep understanding in critical ways, and then to display that knowledge through rhetoric, through debate, through art and action. The LMU mission states that this is a deeply critical and reflexive process in which students place their literal and figurative bodies on the line. They do this by fostering not only academic and professional development, but also physical, social, psychological, moral, cultural, and spiritual growth. The education of the whole person promotes formation of character and values, meaning and purpose. It seeks to develop men and women for others. LMU encourages students, faculty, and staff to identify with those living on the margins of society so that the intellectual inquiry and moral reflection endemic to university life will lead to meaningful work for transformative social change. That sounds very much like what we do in CFA as an intentional, daily, and embodied practice. So to sometimes deny or devalue that contribution, to not support the flourishing of these disciplines is in fact to limit the degrees to which many of our students across the campus come to think not only with their heads, but to feel through their bodies as to act towards change as a valued pedagogical trinity of learning. The notion of breathing in this title also works as an opportunity to briefly reflect on the climate of our times in which the disciplines of CFA, though often thought of as not as critical or not as rigorous as some other disciplines, and often made secondary in progressive initiatives of advancement or in discussions of marketplace value and salaries, our disciplines actually undergird the joint purposes of the university and a liberal arts education. The disciplines in CFA use the power of rhetoric and art to actually change the world. The good man, the good woman speaking and acting well for liberatory purposes. Art as activism, speech as action, rhetoric as persuasion, embodiment as positionality, placing the disciplines of CFA at the heart of transforming the world. And in that sense, the title also references the change of the social, political, cultural climate in which we are living in this nation that requires us to desperately learn new strategies of breathing, sustaining our faith in the possible, and sustaining our bodies in relation to the relentless attacks on our rights, on our mobility, on our religion, on our reproductivity, on our race and ethnicity, on our resiliency, on our sexuality, on our humanity. When we talk about performance resistance, about activism and protest as a response to this current climate, whether Black Lives Matter or the new leadership in the White House, we are talking about the most core skills drawn from the academic and political economy of the CFA disciplines. Rhetoric, the crafted staging of response as in Aristotle's creed to finding in any given situation all the available means of persuasion. The use of artistic expression that penetrates the sensibility of the other in ways that touches the mind, the heart, and the spirit, helping others to deepen their commitment to belief and being critical and responsive citizens in the world. When we talk about being critical consumers of news, analyzing fake news, and engaging in critical media analysis, we are talking about the skill sets that are at the core of communication studies. When we talk about acting up and acting out in a political sense, when we talk about being the change that we seek to see in the world, we are talking about the forms of embodiment that is at the core of CFA disciplines, putting bodies on the line in a sophistication of performativity, not simply to communicate in the powerful nature of what that means, as in to penetrate understanding and the sensibilities of others, to share human understanding towards emancipatory ends, but a performativity that acts to consummate an action or to construct a platform for identities to be made fully manifest in the doing. Not the reductive sense of performativity as a banal act of drawing attention to the self, or even performativity in the Butler sense of a stylized repetition of acts that simulates the natural, but a performance and performativity that intentionally and reflexively mirrors the hilarious and horrid of everyday life, to place it up to be examined more closely as a case study in humanity and human expression. This is what I see when I attend a theater performance or a dance concert. That is what I see when I go to an art exhibition. The pixelation of humanity to be studied, to be examined, to be commented upon, to help inform others, to help others deepen their commitment to faith or belief or politics or reality or non-realities. That is what I think of when I think of art therapy, using art making as a methodology of helping to make the unconscious conscious, thereby discernible and maybe transformable. I believe that is what we do in CFA, and it is aspects of these qualities that all students who take our courses, our majors know this, and non-majors who come to understand their knowing differently and experience epistemological shift that ontologically changes their very sense of being in the world as they begin to process the substantive content of their disciplines with new eyes and new ears and feeling in their knowing, embodying in their disorientation, using this paradigmatic experience to know, engage the world differently, and potentially to make the world anew, to individually breathe again, and then to help breathe life and hope back into the world. I have intentionally, and I'm going to pause for a moment to make sure that it's there. I have intentionally left the now notorious message, statement, and cry, "I can't breathe," above me. White letters in a black t-shirt or on the forever imagined hoodie of Trayvon Martin, emblematic of the construction of restrictive modalities, of unquestioned intentions and denied possibilities, not as an indictment, but as an opportunity for us all to meditate on the realities of breathing and the potential consequences of not breathing. The notion of learning to breathe again is a charge in the face of the stupefying acts, that have taken our breath away. From the emblematic hoodie and the happening with Trayvon, to the extent of Black Lives Matter, a resurgence of protests and unrest on university campuses around the country, to the reality of a Donald Trump presidency that threatens border crossings and mobility while threatening a host of civil rights that we have long just taken for granted, and the ways in which all of these acts in a short period of time have taken our breath away. How do we begin to breathe again? How do we learn to harness our vast skills and talents to give voice to truth, use art to articulate a vision of hope, and activate the passions in our students to be informed, to deepen their commitment and work towards change? Breathing again is a way to resuscitate a commitment to the democratic ideals that we hold so dear. And I believe that we in CFA have a significant role to play. As a college, we are in the process of producing a booklet that documents the range of our community engagement and social justice work, inclusive but not limited to our Art Smart program and partnerships with local schools, and the work of the Helen B. Landgarden Art Therapy Clinic and the department's outreach throughout the entire community in Southern California, our community partnerships in dance and dance education, our continued fundraising around issues, fundraising and issue raising around issues of HIV, AIDS that is conducted each year in the theater program, our social justice coursework that reaches across all of the departments within the college, and the work on critical prison outreach, and the important work that we do in the Voices of Justice series, and our consistent collaboration in the amazing work of the CSJ Center for Reconciliation and Justice, just to list a few. In CFA, we are consistently looking for strategies of engagement and resistance to those forces, new and recurring, that challenge a justice for all to which we are all committed to as a college and as a university. Strategies to help people breathe, then engage and enact their discontent in constructive and meaningful ways. The notion of information formation and transformation made manifest in what we do and what we encourage and what we ask of our students. So allow me to make two simple offerings for you here today. When you arrived on the table right outside Murphy Recital Hall, there are two handouts that if you don't have them, I encourage you to take them. One is a simple page, a press release from the National Communication Association that reaffirms the importance of preserving free and responsible communication. These are also the principles that undergird and guide our own Department of Communication Studies, and indeed the college at large. The other is a document that outlines 26 ways to be in the struggle beyond the streets, a list designed to celebrate ways that our communities can engage in liberation so that we might all breathe better in knowing what is possible and assisting others to do the same. Before ending, I always like to give special thanks to my colleagues and staff in the Dean's office who make the dailiness of my work enjoyable. Judy Scalen, Elaine Walker, Rachel Van Houten, Judy Delavine, Pam Willis, and Kate Shirley, I appreciate, I value, I respect you. To all the senior administrative coordinators and staff throughout the college, your work is important and you matter, and I appreciate you. With that said, I'm now going to invite you to have a little lunch with me right outside. So I thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.